Hi everyone and welcome to today's video where we'll be exploring the 4 largest sand islands in the world, how to get there and what to see and do on the islands. Since I've lived in Queensland most of my life, you'll find I've spent a lot of time on these islands and very happy to share this with you today. So what are the 4 largest sand islands in the world and where are they? Well, they are all located in the southeast corner of Queensland in Australia and reside within an estimated 400-kilometre stretch from Brisbane to Bundaberg. Firstly, we have the biggest of Bribie or Fraser Island at 1,655 square kilometres in size. Second largest is North Stradbroke Island or Minjerribah at 275 square kilometres in size. Third is Moreton Island at 186 square kilometres. And lastly, Bribie Island at 148 square kilometres in size. All 4 are very popular islands to visit along the Queensland coast and have a community of permanent residents. But how can you get there and what can you see? I'll link some blogs in the description below, but I'll go through these highlights now. The island of Bribie, or otherwise known as Fraser Island, is the biggest sand island in the world and UNESCO World Heritage listed in 1992. It has a permanent population of 182 people and receives over 300,000 tourists each year. The indigenous name of Bribie translates to paradise and has been inhabited by the Bachelor Aboriginal people for thousands of years. The entire island is a 4-wheel drive only site and part of the Great Sandy National Park, which does encompass the Rainbow Beach area on the mainland. But being that it's made from sand, to get around you'll need to either take your own 4-wheel drive vehicle to drive around, hire one, or purchase one of the organised tours from the mainland. The ferries or barge over to the island leave from Hervey Bay or Rainbow Beach. Personally, I prefer the one from Rainbow Beach as it's the shortest distance to the island and drops you off at the southern end. But both will actually get you there. The island accommodation consists of off-grid beach camping, a couple of caravan parks, and staying at one of the 2 different resorts, Kingfisher Bay or the Eurong or Bribie Beach Resort. Apart from that, you'll find alternative fixed accommodation like holiday homes, beach houses and private rentals. Organised tour buses will have you exploring for the day or have you staying at 1 or 2 nights in the resorts. Most of these will pick you up from either Hervey Bay or Rainbow Beach and drop you there after. I've also caught one from Brisbane and I believe there could be an option from Noosa as well. You can choose different tour options based on the different sites you want to see. Although some locations can be harder and more time consuming than others, so round down your highlights and choose the best tour for you. Overall, I would recommend the 2-day 1-night option as the best, as I've done this twice now from Brisbane. While that's my preference for enough time to see the absolute best things, I have also done the 1-day tours from Hervey Bay and Rainbow Beach and found them sufficient but very busy. There's no short supply to see things on Bribie, and keep yourself entertained and suit everyone travelling with you. While beach swimming is not that common, there are plenty of swimming spots at the Champagne Rock Pools, Eli Creek, Lake Wabi, and of course Lake Mackenzie. Lake Mackenzie happens to be one of the most stunning freshwater beaches in Australia with fine white silica sand and crystal clear waters. You will be in awe when seeing this lake for the first time and easy enough to spend a couple of hours here. Apart from the swimming, you have history boasting sites like unusual Pinnacles Rock Formation, or walking around the SS Maheno shipwreck. Alternatively, you can explore some of the rainforest full of red gums, staghorns, swamp box and paperbark trees. In fact, Fraser Island is the only place in the world where a subtropical rainforest grows in sand. North Stradbroke Island or Minjerribah is the second largest island. It lies off the coast of Brisbane and only a short 40-minute ferry ride from the suburb of Cleveland. Both the people and car transfers leave from Cleveland and can be organised through the Stradbroke Flyer or Sea-Link ferry service. The small community or permanent residents provide tourists with all the facilities and creature comforts needed for the perfect holiday. These include the grocery stores, local arts and crafts, restaurants and cafes. The national park covers about 50% of the island and means Mother Earth. The original owners, the Quandamooka people, have been living there for thousands of years and boast untouched nature and a variety of wildlife. There is around 2,000 permanent residents and has a complete inbuilt community with plenty of sealed roads and a public bus service over the main sections or suburbs of the island. These include Davinchi, Amity Point and the popular Point Lookout. Accessing any other part of the island or the beaches will require a four-wheel drive vehicle and a permit to drive there. These can be purchased from the Minjerribah camping website along with the camping permits. With a high percentage of permanent residents, you will find any kind of accommodation options on Stradbroke. This includes beachside resorts, luxury style accommodation, budget motels, Airbnb and holiday homes. There will be something to suit your style and budget, but do keep this in mind that it is an island and it tends to be a little higher than the mainland. Apart from that, it's very popular for camping. There are many caravan parks for easy access, but there's also beach camping on Flinders Beach and Main Beach, which we absolutely loved when we last stayed there. There are a few day trip tours to North Stradbroke Island from Brisbane and the Gold Coast. These will visit the amazing beaches and a couple of highlight points on the sealed areas of the island. Know that the barge still leaves from Cleveland in Brisbane for either, so coming up from the Gold Coast will be a very early start and a late finish. Stradbroke is known for some of the best beaches in the area and one suited to all your needs. Amity Point faces the west and is great for low-key swimming for kids, paddleboarding or jet skiing. Flinders Beach has also plenty of great swimming and we've spent some time there. Otherwise, Cylinder Beach is a common area on the north side and does get a few waves. Point Lookout, South Gorge or Main Beach is on the east coast and where you'll find the bigger waves and all the surfing opportunities. There are two beaches to drive on and these are Flinders Beach in the north and Main Beach running down the east side. Point Lookout is located on the east side and is one of the more popular sections of Stradbroke Island. This is where you'll find the gorge walk meandering through the rocky headland and come across some local wildlife like kangaroos or passing whales in the distance. Alternatively, there's some freshwater swimming at Brown Lake, which is amazing. It's stained a slight brown colour due to the tea tree tannin, but a nice quiet area to sit back and enjoy nature. It's also a great location to look out for koalas in the trees. Moreton Island is our third largest sand island and still conveniently located off the coast of Brisbane. Takes about 1.5 hours to get there. We have 243 permanent residents, which mostly consist of resort staff. The island is perfect for a day trip or set in for a longer stay camping or at the resort. Moreton Adventures barge leaves from the Brisbane port for vehicle and passenger transport and drops you off at the Moreton Island wrecks. This area doesn't have access to the resort unless you purchase a casual day pass, but most people use the option for hanging out at the beach for the day or setting up at one of the beach camping sites. Alternatively, the Tangalooma Flyer leaves from Eagle Farm in Brisbane and drops off at the jetty at the Tangalooma Island Resort. This is one of the easiest for having facilities right there within walking distance, but it is at least 30 minutes to walk up to the Tangalooma wrecks. The rest of the island is National Park and you will need a four-wheel drive vehicle to access it or a tour that takes you through some of it. Moreton is popular for the beach camping and permits will need to be purchased through the Queensland Park website before arriving. Apart from that, you have the Tangalooma Island Resort with several different types of accommodation from budget to luxury. The resort is eco-friendly and has many facilities running off solar power. The island and resort were even used in the blockbuster movie scenes of Scooby-Doo. Moreton is perfect for a day trip from Brisbane, and these can be purchased through several operators, and I'll link a blog to help with that below. All of them will either drop you off at the Tangalooma Rex or at the resort, depending which one you choose. Alternatively, you can stay at the resort and purchase tours into the national park and see what the rest of the island has to offer. The biggest highlight and what draws people to Tangalooma Resort is the dolphin feeding. Wild dolphins have actually been visiting the jetty for years and is now controlled by the wildlife rangers. Every night around sunset, you'll have the opportunity to get up close and personal with these dolphins and learn about their many habits. Apart from this, the resort hosts both charged and free activities like paragliding, quad bike tours, helicopter flights, swimming in the resort pools, or sand tobogganing down the dunes. Alternatively, there are 15 shipwrecks to snorkel and dive with, and often the best spot to search for underwater life. There is also an option to use a see-through kayak in and around them, but you do need to be careful of the 100-odd boats that have driven over from the mainland and anchored up here for the day. Bribie might be the smallest of the 4 sand islands mentioned today, but it does have the biggest population of 16,000 people. It's located on the north side of Brisbane, but the only one of these 4 that is conveniently fitted with the Bribie Island Bridge and can be accessed at any time with your own standard 2-wheel drive vehicle. Therefore, no ferry transfers. This is why so many people live there, because of the easy access. Much like Stradbroke Island, you do have communities and facilities available on both sides. The west side with the low-key waters, and the east side faces the open ocean and the surf. These are all on sealed roads and very easy to get around. The northern side of the island is bushland and part of the Bribie Island National Park. Permits are needed for driving and camping, which you can get through the Queensland Parks website, and more importantly, you will need a 4-wheel drive to access it. With the biggest population, you also have the biggest amount of accommodation choices. These include hostels, motels, hotels, luxury and beachside accommodation. There are also channels and waterways on the east with bed and breakfast and private rentals. Alternatively, there are some stunning beach camping spots like the Ocean Beach campsite. We loved staying here, but it can be booked out quickly for weekend visits, so either plan ahead or try your chances in the last 48 hours. There are plenty of attractions on Bribie, but if you're visiting without your own 4-wheel drive, then a tour through the national park might be a great option to check out the island. There are also cruises that leave from the waterways and explore the Pumicestone Passage area. You can hire paddle boards and kayaks at any time on the island, or try your hand at learning to surf. Additionally, if you have a group of people, then hiring the barbecue boat for a few hours of fishing and swimming is a fun day out too. Bribie has 55 square kilometres that are uninhabited, which means it's full of wildlife, bushland, tea tree stained lakes, military bunkers and remnants left over from the war, and many different areas to explore. Apart from that, you have several different beaches, hiking, kayaking, fishing, and very popular for jet skiing. Brizzy locals will often visit here and spend the day around the water. For those options out of the water, you'll have plenty of shops, restaurants, cafes, museum, and there's even a butterfly house to check out. But guess what, guys? Did you know that the Queensland coast has plenty of other islands you can visit? And I have another video listing some of my favourite ones, so click here to check them out next. Otherwise, thanks so much for watching today's edition, and I will see you for the next one.